Hi, everybody. This is the Zambia Institute of Architects podcast. And with me today, I have architect Bwalya Masabo, who runs the architectural firm Mass Ventures. Architect Bwalya, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you, Sunga. How are you doing yourself?
I'm great. We're hoping to know a lot more about the practice of architecture in Zambia, which we feel hasn't been promoted well. But coming closer to the architects, we hope the people can get a better understanding of what architects do. So, Architect Bwalya, tell us about your firm. When did you start? How did you start? Why did you start?
Mass Ventures was registered in 2009, and our first office was in Rose Park. It's basically a team of 5 architects. We've got 2 associates, 2 architects, and a principal. We started because we thought there was a need for architecture. I have a passion for architecture, and I thought I could contribute to the general well-being of the industry. I had worked for about 5 years, and I thought that I accumulated enough experience to share with everybody.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. How has been your journey so far? How many, that's about 10 years of experience if you put it together, isn't it? So could you tell us more? How would you say your journey has been? Has it been a very fruitful journey? Have you had a lot of challenges? You could just give us a small background on that.
Yeah, it's been a learning curve. I think architecture is not one of those professions where you nail it and sell it and forget. But I think it's one that you learn every day. It's a way of life. So every day you do something new, and every new project. So quite interesting learning experience. We've had clients who've been upset with us, and the clients who've been very happy with us, who are still happy with us. So you have to manage things. You have to manage the clients. You have to manage the projects. You also have to manage your teammates. And as you know, as architects, we work with other consultants. So you also have to manage the engineers, electrical, mechanical, and quantity surveyors, so that you achieve something that the client will be happy about. And from our experience, our target on most of our projects was to achieve the right quality and also a product below budget. Obviously, sometimes you have variations that you can't control, but in a nutshell, that's been our target, and I'm glad to say most of the time we achieve that.
That's great. So, just to know a little more, in terms of the challenges that you'd say you've faced, or maybe let me move back a bit. What would you say architecture is or architecture isn't, in terms of what people's perceptions have been in terms of your interactions with clients and the like?
Okay, definitely. What that's architecture, and they take it for that face value. But I think architecture is deeper than that. Architecture is understanding how society operates. I mean, you're not going to give society a product if you don't understand what they appreciate or how it operates. When an architect designs a building, there's a little more thought than just lines. I mean, that's the difference between an architect and a draftsman from the street. And architects are trained mostly for about 5 years in university, and those courses that we do, it's not just one of them one of the 8 per year. So it's beyond just doing a map. You have to understand how the users are going to appreciate the structure, how it's going to affect society, how it's going to affect the environment. And you also have to understand the financial implications. You also have to understand the investment requirements for that project. You have to understand somebody's putting up most of the time a structure. So they can learn. So that you have to learn to balance your design to the potential returns for the size of structure put and the location where you're putting it in. Yeah, so there's a lot more that goes into it than what society perceives it is.
That's very good information, definitely. So now, I mean, I'd like to find out, I mean, of course, I was asking about the challenges, but maybe, of course, without being specific, you could outline some of the miscommunication you've gotten from people about what they felt architectural services were about in the past. And I'm sure you've had a lot of experiences, as many architects will probably say.
I just asked that again. I lost connection.
Oh, sorry about that. Yes. So I was saying, as I was about to ask previously before I asked you that question, was the challenges. And with the challenges, possibly, without being specific to any particular client or anything, I would just like to say, what do you feel has been like a miscommunication you've generally gotten from a lot of clients you've met about what they felt architectural services entailed?
Okay. In my earlier years, when I was working for a practice, I realized there was a lot of dispute letters that I was writing to clients for my principal. In architecture, when you're engaging a client, the procedure of engagement is very critical. You have to put everything in black and white of the service you're giving and what your expectations as an architect is from the client and what the client's expectations from you are. So I'm happy to report having had so many challenges with clients where we have a dispute in our understanding and maybe end up in court or exchange bad emails or bad letters. No, I make it clear what our responsibilities as architects are. And at that point, if a client is ready for that, they stick. If they're not ready for that, they go. So you kind of draw the line, and I think it's better that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Then,
so is that Sorry. Yeah.
Then generally in the practice we. Okay, I don't want to get into.
As I've said, don't be specific. You can just be generic.
Yeah,
just say something
I think,
general, which you've gotten.
Yeah. So generally, I think it's also educating the public on understanding the roles of an architect, like I explained. So it would be good, and it's important that our institute takes a lead in that, so that as individuals, we're not seen to be marketing or trying to put ourselves out there, but we take a holistic approach as a professional, trying to educate people, because some people don't even know that we've got architects in Zambia, or they think we've got very few architects in Zambia. So we need a lot of media presence, social media presence, and putting the word just out there. Because you actually have people who can actually engage architects and can do a good building, but because they don't have information on how to engage or where to find an architect, they just find the first person they meet who says that he's an architect, who's just probably masquerading. And they end up with a very bad product. And in the end, put the blame on Zambian architects, which isn't the case.
Yes, and definitely, I mean, seeing the body of work that you've been able to produce, I know they are very good architects on our scope here. So going forward, do you feel there's input? What do you feel that we as architects are not doing to get this right with our clientele? Is there something you feel we should do which can help us be better recognized or better understood?
Okay. Like I said, intimated earlier, we need to be out there, not as individuals, but as an institute. We need to be out there to educate the public on the roles of an architect and what we should be expecting from an architect. We need to productions, running on TV, and we also need to review the good works that Zambian architects have been doing, so that people see that guys are actually performing. Every time you see a nice building, most of the public would like to assume it's coming from an international architect. When most buildings that are actually around have got a Zambian influence. Even if it's an international architect, They don't do it they don't do it alone. They have to get the Zambian influence to get it going. So we need to document those success stories. We even need to document projects that haven't started, that haven't taken off, because it still shows a flair of what architects can do.
That's definitely great information, and I feel as a person trying to help with the promotion of architects and architecture, this is definitely information we should encompass and try to push forward. So going forward, what are you working on? Any interesting projects at the moment? Anything with some good challenges?
Because maybe I'm bound by privacy contracts with the clients, which we take very serious. I can't divulge in a public media. But yeah, we've got projects that we've been working on in the recent past. And some that we started as way back as 2012. Because one thing that you should know is property investment doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of planning. Yeah. And sometimes even the effecting of the investment requires timing. You have to read the economy to say, okay, this is the right time now to bring this product on the market and to give us the right returns. So sometimes clients are a bit, for lack of a better word, slow in effecting certain projects. So you might have a project that's in the design of the drawing room for 5-10 years. When it comes to fruition. Yeah, so there are a number of projects that we're working on, but I can't get into the specifics.
Of course, I think that's understood. That's very understood. Yeah. So I mean, just a short guide. What's generally the process for engaging a service of Mass Ventures?
It depends where you hear Mass Ventures from.
Well, yes.
If you're passing by the road and you see a little sign on the wall fence, just walk in and we'll have a chat and you tell us what to do. But if you're a corporate client, in engaging an architect, generally you can issue out an expression of interest, and architects can submit their profiles, and from the profiles you can pick an architect who's got the technical capabilities that you're looking for. Or if you don't do an expression of interest, you can go to ZIA, and ZIA can give you a list of architects that you can engage. And from there, you can contact them, and they can send the expression of interest and look at their experience. And fees are actually supposed to be standard because they are based on an act of parliament that stipulates the percentages that you charge according to the size of the project and the type of project. So as a start, expression of interest, and you engage the architect, you discuss your brief. You have to explain to the client, the architect, exactly what you want to achieve, to design, to build. The architect is supposed to interpret that and put it in writing and advise you things that you might have missed out and things that probably have to be added to make it a complete building. Beyond that, once you agree on the brief, the architect is supposed to give you an indication of the fees based on the cost estimate. Because as architects, we're trained to be able to give a rough cost estimate of the project even before it starts. And so based on the cost estimates, you factor in the percentage and you agree on the terms and the payment installments, then you get the contract. Most firms have got a standard contract. There's a ZIA standard contract. It's basically stipulating what you should have already discussed. And once you agree on that, then it's all guns blazing. So the services involved, so the services involved is not just designing the building, there's also tender documentation and tender evaluation. The architect can help you with the selection of the contractor. Then they can also help with the project management. Project management involves site supervision. That's one thing most clients try to avoid, but it's very critical. You're doing a project that's worth 2 million or 3 million, even if it's a house, you need some form of insurance to say that is going to be produced at the right and desired quality. So your architect is your fallback plan, is your insurance policy to ensure that the guys on site follow the instructions and achieve your quality, and they're kept in line to what they're supposed to do. You pay, yes, you have to pay the architect, but for every insurance policy you pay, But believe me, the amount of money that most clients imagine they have to pay is not actually equivalent to the amount that they'll pay. It's probably something that's very manageable for the product or for the service that they're going to get. And when it comes to project management, I think the challenge that we usually have is that most clients try to build their the architect. If the architect has designed something that's very straightforward and supposed to be figured in such a way, we start thoughts to it. But when they get to site, the builder influences them. Most of the time, the builder is just trying to get them to do a shortcut that will save them time, or maybe he's got no ability to actually achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
The architect. So I think that's one thing that I'd like to appeal to most clients is that involve your architect in the project management. Agree with him stages when he can inspect. Believe me, you can thank me later.
This is great information, definitely. It's great information. I mean, I love the facts of, you know, how you've actually outlined the processes. And if you realize that, you know, you're engaging someone who was literally practically advertising, then you know that they don't really understand what our practice is all about as architects. I think this has been some very great information. Maybe I could just leave the floor to you, just if you've got any information you'd like to put forward in terms of, you know, just the practice or any just slight information. I mean, of course, without doing the dangerous things. But
no, I think one, I'd like just to appeal to the public is that, like, whenever they want to engage the services, ensure you're getting the right person, because the investment that you're going to put up is usually not little money. So I think take time to investigate the person or get a reference of what they've worked, and try as much as possible to avoid engaging people who are masquerading to be architects, so that you get the right product. Then I'd also like to appeal to my fellow architects to take all commissions seriously and deliver according to a client's requirements, because there have been times when clients have complained about the professionalism of architects. So I'd just like to appeal to my fellow architects that let's build our image, let's deliver to client satisfaction, and make a better Zambia.
Thank you. I couldn't have heard it ever better said than you have. Well, I just wanted to take the time to say thank you for allowing us this opportunity to get into Mass Ventures a bit and to get to know about your practice. We obviously look forward to more engagement and more information from your firm and yourself. From me today, I'd like to just say thanks, and I hope you have a great day, and we look forward to getting another interview, probably face-to-face after this virus is over and the like.
Thank you, Sunga, and thank you for this commendable job that you're doing to put the architects on this platform. Keep it up.
All right. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you.